Someone is panicking right now, not the loud kind, not the kind you had see, the quiet kind, the kind that happens behind a closed bathroom door at 11 at night while the rest of the house sleeps. Someone just realized that you saw all of it, and that you said nothing. That is what's breaking them. They could have handled a fight. They rehearsed the fight. They had lines ready. They had explanations. They had that little wounded faces they have been using on people for years. But you did not give them the fight. You just looked at them and something behind your eyes went still. And you said, okay, and you moved on. And they have been unraveling ever since. You have probably noticed something is different. You have probably noticed they text more now and about nothing. You have probably noticed they laugh a half second too long at things that are not funny. You have probably noticed they have started explaining themselves before anyone asks them a question. That is not an accident, that is real. That is real. You are not making this up. I want to name something you have never said out loud. There was a moment, you know the exact one, where you stopped being confused. It was not dramatic. It was probably boring, honestly. Maybe you were washing a cup, maybe you were half listening to them talk, and your hands kept moving, and something in your chest just went quiet. And you thought, oh, I already know. And you kept washing the cup. That is the moment, not the confrontation you never had, the cup. And here is the scene nobody tells you about that moment. You did not feel powerful. You felt tired. You felt a little sad, actually, the kind of sad that does not cry. It just sort of sits down. And because you did not feel powerful, you assumed nothing had happened. You assumed you had let them get away with it. You did not. You did something far more devastating than getting away. So, you stopped auditioning for their honesty. Let me be really specific. For a long time, you were the one doing the work. You were filling in their gaps. When their story did not add up, you built a bridge for it. When their timeline was off, you invented traffic. You invented a bad day. You invented a version of them that would never have lied to you. And then you handed it to them and they took it. They took it every single time. And they got used to you handed it over. That was the arrangement. You just never signed anything. And then you stopped building bridges. Here is what most people don't understand about being seen through. It is not the exposure that terrifies people. People survive exposure all the time. What they cannot survive is being seen and then treated gently anyway. Because that means you are not scared of them. That means you are not tangled up in it anymore. That means they no longer have a job in your life. Think of specific moment. Maybe it's a Tuesday, maybe you're in the car with them and the light is doing that low golden scene through the windshield. and they are telling you a story that you already know is not true. And you can hear the exact place where the sentence gets thinner. And you just say, mm-hmm. And you keep driving, and in the passenger seat, something in their body goes cold because you did not ask a single follow-up question. You did not. And you always ask follow-up questions. That is louder than any argument you could have had. And here is what nobody tells you. They noticed. They noticed immediately. They went home and replayed it 40 times. They are still replaying it. They are replaying it tonight because silence is not emptiness. Silence is a mirror, and you handed them one, and you did not say a word, and now they have to look. And then something shifted. Not in them, in you. You stopped explaining. That is the first thing that went. You used to over-explain everything, where you were, why you were late, why you felt what you felt, and one day you just did not. Not out of spite, you just stopped. Someone asked you a question with a hook inside it, and you answered the question and left the hook empty. You stopped chasing closure. That went next. You used to need them to admit it. You used to imagine the conversation where finally said you were right. And now you had honestly find a little embarrassing. You don't need the confession. You have the knowledge that is better, that is cleaner. And you started trusting the flinch. That thing your body does, the tiny drop in your stomach when someone says something perfectly reasonable that is somehow not true. You used to override it. You used to call yourself paranoid, dramatic, too much. Now you don't argue with it. You just quietly file it and adjust. You have not become someone different. You just stopped hiding what you already knew. And I know how that sounds. I know it sounds like I am making a small scene enormous, but watch what has happened around you since. They are panicking. Let me tell you what that looks like from the inside. They check their phone more than they used to, not for messages, for evidence. They are scrolling back through old conversations, looking for the exact moment the temperature changed, trying to find the sentence where they lost you. They won't find it. There is not one. It wasn't a sentence, it was 100 small things, and you never announced any of them. They bring you up in rooms you are not in, casually, way too casually. Oh, they have been worried lately, and people not, because people not. But somebody in that room is watching them talk about you and thinking, why do they keep bringing this up? They are testing you. Little bait, little jabs dressed up as jokes, a comment designed to get a reaction so they can finally know where they stand. And you give them nothing. Not coldness, nothing. Worms with no dough in it. And that is so much worse for them. And they have started apologizing for things nobody accused them of. Watch for that one. It's a tell. it's always a tell. They are not reacting to who you are. They are reacting to what you are reflecting back. Because when you stopped covering them, they had to see themselves without the coverage. And nobody has ever shown them the view before. You were the last person still pretending, and you quietly, without a resignation later. And here is the part that is going to sound strange, but stay with me. They are not just angry underneath it. They are grieving, not because they don't care, because they care too much in the broken way they know how. They knew, however, that you were the one person who saw the whole of them and stayed anyway. And now they think they have lost that and it's burning them up. And they cannot say it out loud because saying it out loud would mean admitting what you saw. So they will do everything except say it. That is the panic. That is what you are feeling in the air. You felt it in the room before anyone spoke a word, and you were right, and you stayed quiet. So let me give you some things. Let them panic. That is not yours to soothe. Let them sprawl, let them rehearse, let them tell whatever they need to tell. You don't have to manage the story they are telling about you. You don't have to correct it. You don't have to prove you are not called. You are not called. You are done. You don't owe anyone the confrontation. Not everything true has to be said. Some things you just know, and then you live differently, and the living is the sentence. And you don't have to feel powerful about it. I mean it. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to feel a little grief for the version of them you invented and loved. That grief is not weakness. It's proof you were not playing games. You were the only one who was not. You are not being harsh. You are being clear. You are not being cold. You are being honest, for maybe the first time in years, with yourself, which is the only place honesty ever actually starts. Let them wonder what you know. Let them wonder how long you have known. You don't have to hand anybody the map of your own mind just because they have gotten uncomfortable stating in the dark. And that scene you have been apologizing for your whole life. The way you feel everything, the way you notice everything, the way a room's mood lands on you before anyone speaks. That is not a defect you have to manage. That is instrument. That is the whole instrument. You have just spent years being told it was broken by people who did not want to be heard clearly. So, here is what I see coming. The quiet is going to hold. It's going to hold longer than you think it can, and there will be a night soon, sooner than your guess, where they reach out and it will be dressed as something else, a memory, a question, just checking in, and you will feel the old pull, and you will notice you don't move. That is the moment. You will know it's finished, not with fight, with a known moment. And on the other side of that, People start showing up who don't require translation. You will notice how strange it is talking to someone and not scanning, not checking the sentence for thinness, just hearing it and it being true, and your stomach staying still. That is what's arriving. That is what's already on its way. You have already chosen this. You chose it at the sink with the cup in your hand. You are not the person you were 6 months ago, and everyone around you knows it. And that is exactly why the air feels so strange right now. You saw everything, you said nothing, and that silence is doing more work than 1,000 arguments ever could. You did not lose your voice. You just stopped spending it on people who were never listening. So stay quiet, stay warm, stay exactly as you are. You already know. You have always known. Love you. Be safe.